My name is Jack, and I am 60 years old, and the moment that quietly split my life into before and after didn't come with shouting or slammed doors. It came with the soft clink of silverware against porcelain, heard through a half-open restaurant door where I realized, all at once, that I was no longer expected. That night I stood outside in the cold, my breath fogging the glass, watching my own family eat dinner without me. I wasn't always the forgotten one. For most of my life, I was the man people leaned on, the steady wall that never complained when the weight got heavy. I worked 40 years at the same manufacturing plant, hands rough, back bent, pride quiet. I raised my son, Evan, after his mother passed when he was 12. I learned how to braid hair for school plays, how to cook passable spaghetti, how to sit silently outside a teenage boy's closed bedroom door just so he'd know I was there. I told myself that kind of love never disappears. It just changes shape. When Evan grew up, married Lena, and had kids of his own, I didn't expect gratitude. I expected distance. That's natural, but I never expected erasure. The dinner was Evan's idea, or at least that's what he said. Dad, he told me on the phone, voice cheerful, rushed. Family dinner Friday night, 8 o'clock. Italian place downtown, thought it'd be nice. I remember smiling so wide my cheeks hurt. That week I ironed my one good shirt. I even polished my old shoes, the ones I wore to Evan's graduation. I practiced a joke in my head, something about how grandkids grow faster than weeds. I wanted to belong. Friday evening, an hour before dinner, my phone buzzed. Sorry, Dad, dinner's cancelled. Kids aren't feeling well. We'll reschedule. I stared at the message for a long time. Something about it felt thin, but I typed back. No worries, hope they feel better, love you. Then I sat in my quiet house, microwave humming as it reheated leftover soup, telling myself this was just life. But 10 minutes later, my neighbor called. Jack, she said hesitantly, are you downtown tonight? No, I replied. Why? Well, I just walked past Bella Roma. I could have sworn I saw Evan and his family inside. Looked like a birthday dinner or something. The spoon slipped from my hand. I didn't respond, I just grabbed my coat. I told myself there had to be an explanation, a surprise party, a misunderstanding, anything but the truth my chest already knew. When I reached the restaurant, warm lights spilled onto the sidewalk. Laughter floated out every time the door opened. I stepped closer, and there they were. Evan at the head of the table. Lena beside him. The kids giggling, mouths full of pasta. Even Lena's parents were there. An entire family dinner. Without me. I stood there longer than I should have, long enough to see Evan raise his glass, long enough to see Lena smile in a way she never smiled around me, long enough to understand that this wasn't an accident. This was a choice. I didn't go in, I didn't confront them. I walked back to my car and sat there, hands shaking on the steering wheel, feeling smaller than I ever had at 60 years old. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying memories like evidence in a trial I didn't know I was losing. Times I babysat last minute. Loans I never asked to be repaid. Holidays rearranged around their schedule. Apologies I made just to keep the peace. Had I made myself too easy to discard? The next morning, Evan called. Dad, hey, about last night. I cut him off, I know. Silence. You know. I was there, I said quietly, outside. Another pause, longer this time. Lena's voice murmured in the background, then Evan sighed. Dad, it's not what you think. I almost laughed. Then tell me what it is. He stumbled over words, logistics, miscommunication. Lena's parents were already in town, the kids were excited, it just happened. What he never said was sorry. After we hung up, something inside me hardened, not into anger but into clarity. For 60 years, I had measured my worth by how useful I was, how available, how silent, I thought love meant endurance. I was wrong. That week, I did something I hadn't done in decades. I chose myself. I joined a local woodworking class. I started saying, "I'm busy," without explaining. I stopped initiating calls that went unanswered. I learned that loneliness feels different when it's chosen rather than imposed. Months passed. Then one afternoon, Evan showed up at my door. He looked tired, older than his years. "Dad," he said, eyes downcast, "can we talk?" We sat at the kitchen table, the same one where I'd helped him with homework, where he once cried over his first heartbreak. "I messed up," he admitted. I don't know, I thought you'd always be there, no matter what." I met his eyes. "I am here, I just won't disappear anymore." He swallowed hard. Lena apologized later, awkwardly but sincerely. The kids hugged me like nothing had ever happened. Life, as it does, tried to smooth over the cracks. But I didn't let it erase the lesson. We rebuilt slowly, honestly, with boundaries, with invitations that meant something because they were real. I still think about that night sometimes, about the man standing outside a restaurant, learning the cost of being taken for granted. But I also think about the man who walked away and found himself again. Morals. Love does not mean shrinking yourself to fit into places that no longer make room for you. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is step back and let others learn the value of your presence by feeling its absence. And if you ever find yourself standing outside, looking in, remember this. You are not invisible. You are just in the wrong room.